Robert Plank Show, episode 96, The Perfect Morning Routine and Morning Habits. Get the most out of every day, reclaim your energy, and multiply your creativity. Welcome back to the Robert Plank Show. This is the program where we talk about not only making money online and working from home, but having the best life possible. Now, Jack Ma, the owner and founder of Alibaba.com, says it doesn't matter if the thing you're creating is stupid or has done before. What matters is that people use it. Think about things like Amazon, eBay, PayPal, etc. It's not like they made the first of that kind of website. Even Facebook wasn't the first social network of its kind. And you go and look at these other alternatives, such as, say, Google Plus, where, well, Facebook is still top dog, or, there's Google, but there's also Yahoo, there's also Bing, there's also Alta Vista, whatever. People still use Google, even though Google has the simplest interface. You think about people who use Android or iPhone phones, they don't necessarily jump ship and drop their current phone and switch to something new. It might just be that, well, they use it, so they will continue using it. Think about how many people around the world use Windows when there are better alternatives if you're a computer geek. But I included use Windows because that is what I have been using. Now, a bonus quote for you today from Karen Lamb says, "A year from now, you'll wish you had started today." And that's the focus of today, is to get back on track and to become a better person. And we've talked in previous episodes about, how to get out of a rut, how to get motivated instantly. But the focus today is on what to do in the morning, what to do in the morning routine. And don't worry, we're not going to bore you with all the dumb stuff. Like people say, well, at 8:05 a.m. I stretch, at 8:10 a.m. I brush my teeth. You brushing your teeth, that's your own business. I'm going to give you the 10 things you should be doing to get a better jump on the day, because you don't want to be that person who just kind of rolls out of bed and doesn't want to do much. And many times, if you find yourself just stuck in the same pattern over and over again, if you find yourself not really in the place where you want to be, then you need to get that morning routine better, and you need to be the kind of person where you roll out of bed excited to start the day. Now, if you're not excited to start the day, maybe you don't have a good enough reason why. For example, let's say that maybe you have a son or a daughter, and maybe they're 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old, whatever, and you want to send them to college, or you want to be able to buy them a car outright when they go to college. So how exciting would it be if you filled up, say, like an investment account with $30,000 and put it in their name and made it where, well, maybe once a week you said, well, your homework is to go and do some research on some investments, on some stocks, and you do your research, you bring it to me, and if your mother and I, or the spouse and I, agree with what you're doing, you go ahead and play around with that money you have there. So think about some kind of a goal like that. Maybe you have a dream car, a dream house. There's a perfect vacation you want to take. You want to take a month-long vacation while your internet business is going and doing all this stuff on autopilot. Whatever it is, have a better reason why. And another thing about rolling out of bed and being excited about what you're doing is, well, don't just be going through the motions. Don't just be faking it till you're making it and looking good and putting out blog posts and articles and pretending you make millions of dollars. If you don't, for some of us, you might need to just join Fiverr and go to profitdashboard.com and find a way where, even if you're only making $100 a day, that's above average. That's more than a lot of people who work 9 to 5 jobs make. And maybe that's where you need to go and start over, or get a new income stream built up. Or maybe you need to go and join makeaproduct.com and get a book created, or podcastcrusher.com and get a podcast episode going every day. But whatever it is, the mornings are key. Right? And if you've ever been in school, high school, college, whatever, then maybe you've noticed that delaying things throughout the day, putting things off, doesn't really make a lot of sense, right? Because usually you say, "Oh, I'll do that on Friday night." Oh, I'm not going to do that assignment on Friday night. I'll do it Saturday. I'll do it Sunday. I'll do it Sunday afternoon. Next thing you know, you're doing it Monday morning. Don't have that student mentality. Instead, have the above average, have the conqueror of the world sort of mentality. So number one, wake up early. Okay, wake up preferably at least 30 minutes before you normally would. Preferably as the sun comes up or as the sun is about to come up. And so I really love this, especially in the summer months, because I live in a place called Turlock, California. It's very flat, it's very dry, and by noontime it gets above 100 degrees in the summer. But in winter, in winter time it's not that cold. Only gets down to about 50. I can put on a jacket, no big deal, and it's great. I mean, mornings are great because, well, everyone's gone. It's almost as if the world ended, the apocalypse happened, and you're the only person left on Earth. It's pretty cool. You walk around. There's barely any cars. There's no people. You hear the birds tweeting, the roosters clucking, all that stuff. So wake up early, preferably 30 minutes before a normal time. I believe the average time people wake up is about 7 a.m. So if you can wake up at, well, I mean, the ideal time to wake up is 5 o'clock. We'll get to that in a few more bullet points. But even if you can do 6 o'clock, 6:30, if you have kids, wake up before the kids. That way you can get some stuff out of the way. And I mean, the big thing I hear from middle-aged people and older is that they can't quiet down the noise. They don't have time to themselves. Well, if you can wake up early, then guess what? You get that time back that you had back in your 20s, maybe your 30s. So wake up early, including the weekends, just because if you sleep in a lot during the weekends, it'll be hard to reset during the week or during those days when you want to wake up early. And guess what? On weekends or on your days off or things like that, you can wake up early and not go and do business stuff, right? There's nothing wrong with waking up early and just having the rest of the day to do whatever you want, which doesn't have to be stuff at the computer. But wake up early. I mean, there's a reason why this is the number one thing in your morning routine, because your brain runs out of good decision making power as the day goes on. There's books and studies and things where there's a chemical your brain produces when you wake up that wears off, and that's the reason why most crime happens at night. Now, burglaries and stuff like that happen because, well, people are away from home. But you figure about, violent crimes, road rage, murder, stuff like that. That all happens when 11 p.m., midnight, 2 a.m. You very rarely hear about a murder at 6 a.m. or at 7 a.m. unless someone's been up the whole night before, right? So your brain runs out of good decision making power. So wake up early. That way you can make the right choices. And I mean, there's just something about having that limitless opportunity in front of you at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. Anything can happen today. The day is just getting warmed up. You've got to jump on everyone else out there in the world. The top CEOs of places like, Toyota, Ford, Coke, all those big companies, they all wake up early. They all go to the gym at 4 or 5 in the morning. Now, you don't have to be a crazy workaholic like that, a gym rat, but wake up early. And if you have trouble waking up early, well, I'm not telling you to go to sleep at 2 in the morning and wake up at 6, right? So the number two thing is to sleep a solid 8 hours. There's no point in being sleep deprived. There's no point in only just dragging through the day, suffering through 1 to 2 hours of sleep per night. You're going to crash. It's not going to work. That's not the solution. A lot of people think that they can, to quote Warren Buffett, that they can have a baby in 1 month by making 9 women pregnant, right? They think that basically they can slack off for a while and then somehow overdo it and overwork themselves, and what that's just going to lead to is burnout. It's going to lead to you thinking you're productive and not. So there's a difference between your own perception and what you think you're going through and what you think you're doing and what you think how productive you are, because you say, I've been sitting at the computer for 15 hours. Yeah, but you've been sitting at the computer staring at the screen for 15 hours. And if you'd only had a good night's sleep, you can get to the computer, stare at it for 10 minutes, get what needs to be done, and you've just done more in 10 minutes than a lot of people do in 15 hours. So don't spend more than a couple of hours per day at the computer. Get in there, get what needs to be done, and then get off the computer. And the big key, so number two, is to sleep a solid 8 hours. And if you say, well, I can't do that, well, first of all, go to bed early. And it might take you a few days. It might take you 3 or 4 days to get your cycle kind of fixed, where maybe you go to bed at 9 p.m. instead of midnight, but sleep a solid 8 hours. And I have a couple quick things for you to have better sleep. I didn't want to make a whole podcast dedicated to sleep, but I just have maybe we have like 4 or 5 things, and I want to throw these at you, so pay very close attention. First of all, eat a spoonful of raw honey. So, not any kind of regular honey, but go on Amazon and search for the term raw honey. So, this stuff is kind of weird, but I guess you take a spoonful of it before bed, and it takes hours to kick in, and it helps you wake up better. So, I don't know a lot about this whole sleep thing, but there's different types of sleep problems, right? There's the difficulty getting to sleep, there's difficulty waking up, there's difficulty staying in a sleep kind of state. And so this whole raw honey thing will help you to wake up in about 8 hours and not have that groggy feeling, not having the I gotta keep hitting the snooze button, and then next thing you know, it took you 3 hours to wake up. Now, half the day's gone. So eat a spoonful of raw honey just before bed. Don't use your phone right before bed. It seems like common knowledge, and a lot of us do it, but I'm just telling you, if you are the kind of person that takes 2+ hours to fall asleep, and you use the phone before bed, then that's probably the cause, or if not, that's the number one cause. So figure out your schedule so that maybe an hour before bed you kind of plug it into the charger, put it across the room if you can, or put it under your pillow or something, because I like to use one of those sleep monitoring apps. But whatever you do, make it a point to not look at any kind of a screen, laptop, tablet, TV, phone an hour before bed. That'll really help your sleep. So then, as you're falling asleep, there are two techniques. One, and it depends on the night. If one technique doesn't work for me, usually the other one will. So the first technique that works for me is called 4-7-8, and it's this: you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold that breath for 7 seconds, and then you exhale for 8 seconds, and you just repeat that, and you do it while you push your tongue up to the roof of your mouth, and doing that little tongue thing, that'll help to, I guess, anchor you a little bit. And so the more you do it, the easier it gets. It might not work at first, but you do this every day for 20 days in a row. Next thing you know, it'll start working. Now, on the off chance that doesn't work, and I mean, you keep on doing that breathing thing for, it shouldn't take you more than a couple of minutes. And the way I remember that's the best is that I'm breathing out more than I'm breathing in. And it just gets you kind of in that almost like a counting sheep sort of rhythm. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 7 seconds, breathe out for 8 seconds. Now, if that doesn't work, usually that does, but failing that, what I'll do, and this believe this one comes from Deepak Chopra, you think of the number 300, right? And then you count backwards, but you count in steps of three. So you think 300, 297, 294, 291, 288, 285, like this. And it has the combined effect of kind of makes your brain work a little bit, but it makes you focus very closely on this pattern. But it's also a really boring thing, especially once you get to, like, 200, 100, whatever. It becomes kind of boring. So it has a similar effect of, it gets your mind off all the noise, but then this one thing you're focusing on is even more boring than counting sheep. So think of the number 300 and then count backwards from three. And then, to bring it all full circle, I use an app on my iPhone. There's an Android version as well, called Sleep Cycle. This is my number one secret for waking up at any time I want during the morning. What you do is you open up this app called Sleep Cycle, you put your phone into airplane mode, you put it face down under your pillow. They actually have a new feature where I guess you can, like, put it on your nightstand, and somehow it can tell by the microphone or something, but I still use it the old way. But the point is that it uses the accelerometer in the phone to tell, as you're tossing and turning, when you're awake, when you're asleep, and when you're in a dream state, when you're in a deep sleep. And basically throughout the night, there's these, like, different, waves and patterns and things. And the best part about this app is that you say, okay, I want to wake up at between 5 o'clock and 5:30 a.m., right? And at 5 o'clock, if you're not in a dream state, it'll wake you right up. Now, if you are in a dream state around 5 o'clock, it might wait. Maybe you'll be out of it by 5:10, 5:20, 5:30, whatever. By 5:30, it will wake you up anyway. But this somehow I don't even know how they do it, but it monitors your sleep and it avoids the interrupting of your dream state. Because we've all been there, right? Haven't you ever been in a dream and something wakes you up, a noise wakes you up, and then you feel groggy suddenly the whole rest of the day? So by not breaking your cycle, by having this app that waits until the right time to wake you up, it avoids this grogginess. So huge help. I believe it's like $1.99 sleep cycle app for iPhone and Android. Number three, make your bed the first thing in the morning. Now, what does this do? I mean, maybe if you have a partner, maybe you have to wait until they're out of bed. But I'm telling you, the first chance you get, make your bed the first thing in the morning. So this is a pattern I've been doing for about 2 months now, and it helps you because it gives you one thing that you already accomplished today. It's this goofy little thing. It only takes you about a minute every morning, and you're going to have to make your bed at some point in the day anyway, right? Because you're going to have to get back into it. But it just gives you one thing that you already accomplished right off the bat, and it helps this forward momentum of getting more things done. Number four, meditate. And I don't mean meditate like sit on the floor, cross-legged, and do that weird thing with your fingers and go, unless you know how to do that. But meditation can mean many things, right? You can be just kind of sitting, waiting around at a doctor's office and not doing anything, and that's meditating. So there's something to be said about just being quiet, tuning things out, and not necessarily watching or listening to music all the dang time. I mean, I've been out on walks and things like that where I can tell like some other person who's walking didn't have headphones and they're just blasting music out of their phone, and I'm just walking thinking, I don't want to hear your crappy music. I've been at restaurants and diners where someone else at the restaurant had phone blasting out of or music blasting out of their phone, and we all know that person who maybe they have to always take the bathroom or the phone with them into the bathroom and play music while they're taking a tinkle, or that person where they might be driving somewhere that's 20 minutes away and they get 15 minutes of the way there and they have to turn around and go back even further just to go and pick up their phone, addicted to the phone. So if you're that kind of person, that's okay. But what I'm telling you is to take 1 to 2 hours of quiet time in the morning. And this is easy if you wake up before everyone else. So 1 to 2 hours of just quiet time, especially don't listen to music, podcasts, radio, TV. And this, and the whole reason why, I'll be honest, the whole reason why I recorded this episode for you today, this morning, was because of this one reason. Because I woke up and I was kind of feeling, and you know how sometimes you kind of get that antsy feeling that like, okay, I woke up early, got my bulletproof coffee. Going to talk about that in a second. Went out on a walk, and I brought my phone with me. And after a second, I just thought, you know what, I completely powered down my phone just because I just had that weird antsy feeling of, sometimes when you feel like I can't even drive 5 minutes, I can't even go to the bathroom without playing some music, and I realized I needed to have some peace and quiet. So wake up early, have that quiet time, and don't listen to music, stay off the computer, and just have time to think. So when I say meditate, like I said, I don't mean lay down and close your eyes, even though you could if you know how to do that. But even just kind of going for a walk, going for a run, going for a drive with just complete silence, no music, none of that stuff, and just think about what your next move is and what you're going to do today to conquer the day. So meditation, which just means take an hour or so of quiet time in the morning where there's no talking, there's no music, there's no noise, just kind of hanging out. Number five, take lots of breaks throughout the day to recharge away from the computer. Don't spend 8 hours a day at the computer. Don't spend 12 hours a day. Don't eat meals and snacks at the computer. The computer should only be for sitting down, knocking out a money-making activity. For example, I'm making this podcast for you, and then hop off the computer, take a break, come back, do something else. And that way, you're always in a peak state. You're always recharged. Speaking of being recharged and away from the computer, also take at least 1 to 2 days away from the computer per week. If you want to use Saturday and Sunday, great, but go a couple of days without even touching the dang computer. I'm telling you, it'll help get you recharged. Now, speaking of recharge, speaking of something crazy, number 6 is to drink bulletproof coffee. What the heck is bulletproof coffee? It's basically where you put butter in your coffee, which does a couple things. It wakes you up. it gives your brain these healthy fats and things like that, and it puts your body into a state of ketosis where it you basically are flooding your, I don't know the exact science, but you're giving your body so much fat all at once that it goes on fat burning mode until the afternoon. So it's a good way to basically burn fat by giving your body a bunch of fat. But you have to do it right, right? And the big thing is that you have to use the right kind of butter, and you can't eat breakfast, okay? And you can't even eat lunch until about 2 in the afternoon. But everyone messes this up because they try to mix, bulletproof coffee and do some juice fasting and add in snacking. Don't do that. Here's the recipe as I understand it. I've been using for about 5 years. You wake up at about 5 in the morning, and you brew 2 cups of low acid unsalted coffee. All right, if you just Google search or Amazon search low acid coffee or go to a health food store, they have these. So the low acid part isn't super important, but if you can find it, low acid unsalted coffee, just get something like that. I use a Keurig, and I bought a big tin of, like, a 3 pound tin of ground coffee, so I can just put scoop it into these little cup things, put it in the Keurig coffee maker, have a cup of coffee in about a minute. So you brew 2 cups. So what is that? 24 ounces, I think, something like that, of low acid unsalted coffee. And then you add in 2 tablespoons of MCT oil. So another Amazon search there, you can get a big jug of this liquid stuff that will last you for years. And then the secret ingredient, the one thing you have to make sure to not mess up, is to also add 2 tablespoons of butter, but this has to be either ghee butter, GHEE, or unsalted butter, and the brand for this is called Kerrygold. It's like unsalted Irish butter. You go to all these grocery stores, and it's easy to find the salted butter. You don't want that. You want to go sometimes to the health food stores and places like that to get the unsalted Irish butter or the ghee butter. So the ghee butter, so basically go to a health food store, look for this unsalted Irish Kerrygold butter. It's like in a silver foil kind of package, at least in the US. If you can't find that, you can just go on Amazon, search GHEE butter, and it comes in a big jar, doesn't need refrigeration. So that way, at least you have no excuse. You can get everything shipped to you. So you wake up at 5 in the morning, you blend this together, like we said, 2 cups of coffee, 2 tablespoons of MCT oil, and that gives you energy, and then 2 tablespoons of ghee or unsalted butter. Blend it together. It's kind of gross. It's kind of, buttery. It's kind of foamy. I've had worse things. But drink it at 5 o'clock in the morning. And then, super duper important, after drinking this coffee at 5 a.m., don't eat anything else until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Really, really important, because how much time does that give you? That gives your body 9 hours to digest all the fat. But the problem is, if your body's trying to digest fat, you add in more food. My understanding is your body can't get into this ketosis state where it goes into fat burning mode. So to be honest, if there are days, and I do mess up sometimes, if there are days when I don't wake up till 8 or 9 in the morning, then I don't have bulletproof coffee, because by that math, I have to skip lunch. So I don't want to do that. So you only drink bulletproof coffee if you can wake up at dawn or just before dawn. Number 7, since we're talking about things that you're drinking, drink tons of water instead of soda. If I've ever been in the state where I had kind of brain fog, dumb head, can't really get much done, the reason for the brain fog is because I just hadn't had enough water that day. So, drinking like a can of soda gives you a nice little boost, but then you crash. I'm definitely not a health nut or anything like that, but water is for sure way, way more healthy for you than soda, even diet soda. Just drink tons of water. You probably don't get enough water during the day, and if you ever feel sluggish, whether that's your body sluggish or your mind is sluggish, it's probably because of a lack of water. Number 8, read a book instead of watching TV. So this is what all these, top thinkers, top earners like Bill Gates do. They read tons and tons of stuff, and it's easy to find time to read if you're not always watching reality TV every single day. And super important and kind of weird, almost seems counterproductive, but get a hobby outside of internet marketing or outside of parenting, because it's really easy to just get stuck in the same routine every day. And by having a hobby, having a team sport, geocaching, whatever it is you want to do, get a hobby where it doesn't relate to internet marketing, it doesn't relate to doing anything with the computer, and that'll help you to recharge and not just be this computer machine all day long. Number 9, journal. It helps so much to put your random thoughts and feelings into words. So spend 5 minutes if you're really stuck. This is something I need to get better on. This is the one thing where out of the things we listed in the morning routine, I do all of these. Journaling, I don't do consistently, but spend 5 minutes just writing a couple bullet points, just getting the clutter, the thoughts, the problems out of your head. You don't need to solve all your problems, just get some clarity. So think about, what your big goals are, and think about this. What if you wrote down those big goals and they were the same goals, but you wrote them down every single day? They'd be pretty well solidified. I've tried things in the past where I've tried to like list 3 things I was grateful for every day and stuff like that. And my problem is just that I don't really like to repeat myself, so I need to get over that mental block of some mornings you just are journaling the same thing. But just spend 5 minutes. Don't get carried away and write a bunch of stuff. Write down a few bullet points just to get your thoughts and feelings into words. And finally, number 10, speaking of writing things down and getting your thoughts and feelings into words, write down your 4 daily tasks instead of just winging it. I don't want to cover this whole 4 daily tasks routine, but it basically means that every day, as far as your business, as far as money making activities, you should be doing exactly 4 things. One thing is a 10-minute gimme, one is a 40-minute session, one is a 40-minute session, and one is a 40-minute session. If you have lots of little things, then you can group them together. If you have some huge big project, then you can break it apart into 40-minute sections. But I'm telling you, if you change your thinking, if you change your activities into just doing things 40 minutes at a time and getting them complete and to a visible milestone every single time, instead of just winging it, that is a way better system. And I'm not saying you have to do 4 daily tasks every single day, but the days that I actually conform to that model are the days where I make more money, I'm happier, I'm more productive, I get everything done, and I get it done with enough time to have the whole day left over. And you can join our accountability group at 4dailytasks.com/group, and you can pick up my time management course at timemanagementoncrack.com and get all the 10 items of the perfect morning routine at robertplank.com/096. The perfect morning routine and morning habits. Number 1, wake up early. Number 2, sleep a solid 8 hours. Number 3, make your bed first thing in the morning. Number 4, meditate. Number 5, take lots of breaks throughout the day to recharge. Number 6, drink Bulletproof coffee. That's 2 cups of unsalted coffee, 2 tablespoons MCT oil, 2 tablespoons unsalted butter. Number 7, drink. Oh, by the way, speaking of Bulletproof coffee, wake up and drink that at 5 a.m. and then abstain from eating until 2 p.m. Number 7, drink tons of water instead of soda. Number 8, read a book instead of watching TV. Number 9, journal. And number 10, write down your 4 daily tasks instead of just winging it. Being a workaholic won't work. Being sleep deprived won't work. All of these silly kind of life hacking things, like I don't know if you've ever heard of, there's a system where I guess you can go to sleep every 4 hours for 15 minutes, and the whole idea is like it resets your sleep cycle and it makes it where you have all this extra free time. I've tried it. I was groggy all the time. So what's the point of having a weird, silly sleep schedule, or of just pushing yourself so hard if you're tired, if you're burned out, if you're fooling yourself? None of those things make sense. So go ahead and implement those 10 things and reclaim the day and get the most out of every day. Whether you're building an online business, working a day job, working a nonprofit, in whatever part of the world you're in, whatever niche you're in, I'm telling you, if you can get a handle, if you can have a better morning routine, the rest of the day will not only be better, but will be yours to do with as whatever you please, as this passive income kind of does its own thing. So go ahead and do it right now. I'm Robert Plank. Give us a 5-star rating and review at robertplank.com/iTunes. and I'll see you on the very next episode of The Robert Plank Show. Thanks for tuning in and hearing about morning routines. Bye for now.